In this video, we take a look at the top 5 adult VR games to play this year. There are quite a number of cool adult VR games to mess around with, especially if you look on Steam, but we feel these are currently the best available and most updated. They also work on most, if not all, PC VR headsets. Some even have Quest standalone versions. So in no particular order, here's our top 5 adult VR games you should have in your libraries, and if you don't, go and get them right now.
This is perfect.
Vertomate. Starting off our list is one of the first adult VR games we played around 6 years ago, back in 2017, when the VR landscape was very different than what it is now. Back then, the Oculus Rift and HTC Vive headsets ruled the roost, and standalone quests weren't even thinkable. So developer Meshed VR came onto the scene with a rather neat free demo, which set the stage for many things to come. As of now, Vertomate, or VAM as it's called, is so integrated into the scene, many VR gamers swear by it as the de facto VR experience. We've always thought it wasn't as user-friendly as some of its competitors, and still isn't, but has a massive community of modders who create some unmatched plugins, such as VAMX, which make this title the most comprehensive around. Meshed VR is currently working on a version 2, which looks set to up the ante even more. We were initially amazed by this when it first released, and still are, when all the extras are installed. Tricky to get the most out of, but once there, it's a real gem, and you've got to have it in your library. Captain Hardcore. Now, Captain Hardcore has grown into something much more than what it was when it first released. Initially, it had just one area to move a model around. Since then, the game has grown to not only allow for exploring your very own highly detailed spacecraft, but also some gameplay elements where you can warp and land on a distant planet to dive into some first-person shooting action against robotic beings. This gameplay loop has always been the end game for Captain Hardcore, and it's great to finally see it develop in the direction it set out to be. The game features lots of customization, it's easy to use, and even has a Quest standalone version to play with. This is a great title to have in the collection, as updates are quite frequent too. What are you waiting for? VR Paradise. Another older game that is pretty much done as the developers move on to VR Paradise 2, which is on the distant horizon. With that said, if you want a complete VR experience today, then this is one of the few that are well made and actually finished. Whilst it might not have as much interaction as other games, it does a grand job of conveying an adult themed club. There are quite a number of options to tinker with, and even some basic questing, which is a nice touch. Included are plenty of outfits and some fantastic animations, which are made more realistic in VR. You can purchase more outfits and locations as downloadable content. That's the only negative here, as these could have been included in the main game. That said, there's a really nice character changing room where you can get up close and personal and feel some awesome VR presence with the dancers, especially if you stand up using room scale for a closer look. You can customize the dancers with new outfits and some additional features. Whilst it's not as in-depth as many other adult VR games, it's a very easy to play experience and well worth it, even without the DLC. The Villain Simulator. Now, the Villain Simulator is one of my favourite VR or desktop adult themed games, purely because there is nothing else like it, at least not at the time when it first released. There's an actual game in the making here where players are tasked with interrogation of their female captives. It's a strange but totally compelling experience as you tease, tickle and mess around with fully customizable models. If you manage to turn them to your way of thinking, then you might be rewarded with a dance or something more intimate. This is a great, well-polished title that is fun and so easy to just mess around with. In addition, the developer offers regular updates, making this a definitive game to have in your library, as you won't find anything else like it. Ever. Finally, VR Hot. We love VR Hot. It's come a long way from its rather buggy beginning and is now one of our favourite VR experiences. We have followed its development extensively and continually participate in its community on Discord. The game offers some of the most engaging models, and with the arrival of AI chat software incorporated, is a totally engrossing experience. The game is also playable as a desktop game for those without a VR headset, which is a fantastic option to have. VR Hot provides a model to interact with. Think virtual girlfriend, which it manages with aplomb. We like this game so much because the customization is fantastic and the immersion is top quality. The developers are passionate about this project and continually offer improvements. This is the best virtual girlfriend type experience in the making, and if they can add some additional AI features where the character has some free will within the environments, will be an even greater or inspiring game to play around with. Certainly one to keep an eye on and in your libraries. Closing thoughts. There are loads of adult VR games released over the years, some better than others. Adult VR game development is tricky as publishers aren't willing to invest in it. So you see a lot of community supported titles come and go, unfortunately. We can say our list features those which are the cream of the crop. Steam has a lot of disappointing or very basic games in the genre, releasing quite frequently that are not worthy of your time or money, so be aware. There are also some other titles like Skyrim VR that do really well with adult themed mods installed, which are worth looking at. Adult VR games aren't for everyone, and whilst adult in nature can be appreciated from an artistic perspective, which is what we like here. The one thing that is evident though is adult VR game developers are all making solid personal experience with virtual characters, which is fantastic and a welcome break over shooters and exploration games and puzzles and jumping around. Okay, well that's it for now. Thanks for watching.